We're gonna go.
I know. I thought we went.
No, Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show to you, my YouTube buddies. We got Scott here. We're doing viewer questions. It's exciting.
Every day.
All right. We're just going to get started. We're going to go through. This is going to be a marathon session. Brandon Griffiths says, can't wait to see more shows coming up. Holidays are coming up. Maybe take a little break. Come back refreshed for the new year. What are you doing for the holidays?
Nothing. Holidays.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's coming up. What do you do for Thanksgiving?
Well, the last 3 years I've put a dog down on Thanksgiving. Every one. So I'm hoping not to do that. I got one in surgery today, so we'll see if maybe we'll have a pre-Thanksgiving death.
So do you take in sick dogs, or you just have a terrible luck?
No, just they seem to get cancer in August and die in November, so I don't know. Maybe this year actually do something. I mean, we have big Thanksgiving dinner here in the warehouse with all the crew.
Oh, I was here for one of those.
Okay.
Was I not here for the other one? I was here. We deep fried a turkey. I think I've been here for two.
Yeah, we deep fried 2 turkeys.
You know what was the best part? Was after all the turkey had been taken off, what was left picking at the carcass of it. Oh, delicious. Delicious. It was deep fried, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
So what are you doing for Thanksgiving? You don't. You're like a Jehovah.
No, I'm not. I haven't been to Jehovah for a long time. A long time.
He doesn't trick or treat.
I do so. Well, I'm too old to trick or treat.
You do so.
Well, I put up my thing. You know how? Okay, so I put up my little sign. You know, we're open for business. It's like, you know, it's a little Halloween thing. And I got a little pumpkin lantern that I put up. And
but
then
you're at the end of the street, so nobody even comes.
Well, that's
down
what I'm
there.
saying. So I get one kid, and this is the weird part. This kid was like 2.
Daddy.
He was like 2. That would be a great trick or treat. Oh, by the way, you're my dad.
Yeah, I got a DNA test.
No,
your dad.
This was like a 2-year-old kid, and he in a Spider-Man costume. Actually, it wasn't Spider-Man. It was like some kind of like gas mask kind of situation. Just walks up to my door. Trick or treat. What?
Deadpool?
I don't know. He was like in some kind of. You know what I think it might have been was Breaking Bad. Although I can't imagine they make Breaking Bad costumes for
2-year-olds. I would hope not.
But he was by himself. There was no one out at the road, and this was the only kid all night long. I got a whole bag of candy. I've gained like 3 pounds.
He was a ghost.
Oh, Jesus.
He wasn't real.
You're right. It was.
It wasn't real. It's Halloween. Spirits come out. So what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Oh, the whole family's coming over, cooking. The wife cooks.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. She can she's got like those wife cooking skills, mom skills. It's like she just like throws the whole thing together. There's like nothing in the house. And then she'll like just go in there and just be like fucking around for 30 minutes and there's a whole meal. Like, how the hell do you do that?
Yeah, those aren't wife cooking skills. I've got a wife, 21 years. There's another term for that, but it ain't wife cooking skills.
Mom cook? Well, she's a mom too.
Mom style for sure.
Yeah,
my mom's. Yeah, no, it's.
They just got it down. The timing and the whole thing, it all comes out at the same time.
Some women are just better cuddlers.
Because if I, because when I cook, I can throw it. I can pull it off.
Oh, I'm a cook.
But it's like a science thing. I've got like charts and stuff.
I don't know.
So it all gets done at the same time.
Too much work.
All right.
Well, so that's
that.
that. We don't know.
We don't know what we're doing.
We're gonna eat food and then wait for the next holiday.
We should have a Christmas show though. A Christmas special. We can sing and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're coming as Santa, scare kids.
That's awesome.
Santa Claus. All right.
That's what we got going, Brandon. Rusty Out says, "Are you pH?" I think that's pHing the water. You know, people they send these questions in on their phone, and so it autocorrects. Anyway, he says, "Are you pHing the water?" This is in regard to. Now this is interesting. I think this is gonna be a good thing. So what I'm doing with the plants, the little plants, is we got the full on SLF and Dr. Root is all I've been putting in there. So, but I want to talk about pH within the. I know that we don't need to pH that, but is pHing just a function of calcium availability, or is there more to it?
So, yeah, no.
So what's the deal?
It's pH. I mean, if your water comes out of the tap at 5.2, you need to pH that because now you're just wetting the soil.
So even if I'm just doing the SLF and that sort of thing, even then you would pH? Or you would check to see if you're in a range?
Yeah, but you have a good water source and you
I do.
So your water... Close. I mean, if I'm at the 7.74, I don't pH... I'm not trying to feed the calcium, but...
Right.
If you just water that's really high pH or really low pH all the time, you're ultimately going to condition the soil to be acidic or alkaline. Okay. So people that have high bicarbonate waters with a pH of 8 and they just water with non-pH water or they don't react the water, eventually the limestone or the carbonates in that water are going to build up in the soil, making your pH of your soil climb. Vice versa with acidic water, or water that's always 5 to 6.0, which is, you should just be not drinking that water. That's cancer is what that is. But eventually you are going to buffer the soil to where the pH in the soil is going to drift, and then you don't have the availability of any nutrients.
So when we're talking 6.3 and 6.4 in there, we're talking about calcium availability. But
if you're feeding calcium at the day.
Yes, but we're not so much worried about that when we're not. But we certainly want to be within a range of, what is that range?
6 to, really like 5.9 to 7.8.
Okay.
You're fine. But, long periods of 7.8, you're still going to have that issue.
It's going to drift.
So be doing slurry tests. If you're not pHing, at least test your slurries every few weeks.
So, but you as a start to your growing life, you would pH the water that you're working with on a regular basis and see if it's super low or super high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any water.
If it's super high, what are you going to do? Or are you going to
react it with pH down?
Every time before you
when it's super high like that, you've got a lot of carbonate in there. The carbonate in there isn't necessarily a calcium source that the plant is readily taking from the soil. Mm-hmm. So I would actually hit it with Herculean to drop the pH, because it's going to react to the base. It's going to drop it down with a reaction. Right. And then you got the calcium from the soluble form of bone meal that the plants can consume when they're drinking the water.
Okay, so if this is just your tea day or something like that, you'd put some Herc in there to react your water down?
I'm at an 8. So if I start my compost tea at 8, I would start that by getting my water into at least into the 7s.
Okay.
Letting that sit and brew for an hour or two, and then adding the microbes in after that.
Because it's going to be devastating to those microbes.
You don't want to pH after your tea. So if you brew a tea, don't pH the tea after it's brewed.
Sure,
because it'll kill your microbes.
Yeah.
But pH your water. If you always have 8, then pH your water beforehand. Let it sit for 24 hours. Settle out so there's no more reaction, and then put your compost in and start brewing.
Okay. What if it's too low?
Same thing, just raise it up.
And you just use it to limp
it up, because now you're putting bicarbonate back into the water, so now you've buffered the water, it's reacting, and you don't need much, because if you put a little in, it's going to slowly dissolve over time, but then it's more gentle on the microbes too.
So if I have some funky water, would you do one of those solutions over going to some kind of RO thing or getting some crazy filters or situations like that?
Depends on what's in the water, and then you basically have to go to your municipality or your well testing company, find out what's in the water, what's reacting, what's causing these numbers. If it's just a little bit of iron and bicarbonate, I don't go to RO or distilled, because you strip so much out of those types of water. Mm-hmm. But if you've got arsenic, iron, calcium, if you got this gamut of crazy minerals and metals in there, it's probably going to be better for the plant and easier for you to grow if you have a blank slate water to start with. I don't believe in blank slate water unless you are in a community that you need to use blank slate water.
So do you think there's situations where you could have your pH isn't an issue, but you have bad water?
Oh, absolutely. You get it all the time.
Poisoning type things in the water too. So
minerals are minerals, and too many the plant will take them up because they love metal. And minerals. So they're going to absorb all that, and eventually you can get toxicity levels where a lot of people are like, I got this deficiency. Well, chances are you might even have a toxicity from whatever in your well, or city water, or I live in Flint.
Outdoor as opposed to indoor, is there more room for error with an outdoor situation?
Yeah, because the outdoor you've got, acres upon acres of cubic feet of soil versus indoors you're anywhere from a 1 gallon to 20. Or 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
so you would, if you're starting your indoor grow, or even if you haven't done this yet, you would educate yourself on the water you're using.
Always. It's like, do you just blindly drink water when you travel? Because, no way. No. I get to certain cities and I'm like, I can smell that's going to kill me, so off to the store I go. So, like you, it's a living organism.
Sure.
So you might want to try to just take a quick look at your water. If you're really serious about it and it's beyond a hobby, or it's your medicine, it's your food, it's your crops, it's something that you're relying on to save money, then you might want to know all the aspects that you can control, and water is one of them.
So I guess one aspect is if you got high or low pH, but as far as like bad stuff in your water, do you test for that, or educate yourself, like looking at where would you go about that?
Well, Google. I mean, the nice thing is you have a million people who have done this. It's not you're not the first person to test your water.
So just look at your town, your municipality.
Well, legally, by law, you have to, or you don't, but if you have a water source, the county knows about it.
Right.
So there is a well test, there is a municipal test, there is a water system test that they do, and they have to do it at least biannually. Every other year.
Every other year.
And they should have that on file. So you should be able to request that. You should be able to get it and take a look at it. If it's out of date, you can recommend or request a new, fresher one. But usually getting the starting point of what's in my water.
Sure.
You know, how much E. coli is in there? What's the bacteria load? What's the metal load? And then going online and finding out from the community. There's entire communities on water for plants. So, I mean,
it's a huge deal. It's the basis of it all.
Or email, email your closest ag university, email your nutrient company that you're working with. I mean, somebody out there is going to be able to help you with most of the stuff that's in your water.
Okay. Chlorine, chloramine in your water. Do you not worry about it so much?
I mean, it's a tough one. It's loaded. I mean, I certainly, I've used it. I know some of them, chloramines don't just gas off. Chlorine does, so you can just aerate that. A lot of people will do a slow distill, a nice slow settling, and let all the chloramines settle and only pull off the top. Or, I've always had bustling life in my soil, regardless of my water source. So because we're feed teas, feed flush, so we're always re-inoculating. That's why the microbial world in our industry is so strong, is because we're always putting some type of life back in that may have been killed by some type of, chloramine or chloride or chlorine.
Because it feels like the answer is I wouldn't get too worked up about it. It seems like it's a loaded issue.
Again, we're blessed. We're in Oregon. Our water's awesome. I've been in Michigan where it burns your eyes when it comes out of the tap. So,
and that's because they're putting so much stuff in there to kill
whatever the heck's in there. Or you. So who knows? You're overpopulated in some states.
So you got to educate yourself about it to your own area.
What's your concern about you? I mean, it's really up to you. But if you're using microbes religiously, then I wouldn't worry about it. Especially things like, these spore form ones. Like Easy Teas, where they're going in, you're mixing them, and you're putting them right into the system. So they're not alive. They're not being affected by the chloramines. And they're going into the soil, then being oxygenated, germinating, and then they're living. So unless it's really just high levels of those chemicals, they're not. They suck. There's no question.
Sure, yeah.
But you can still grow a plant even with that crap in there.
Well, if you're 100 yards from a freeway, you're there's stuff
if you live
washing over you. Yeah,
if you live anywhere east of Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the air already.
Yeah, so there's no perfect world.
There isn't.
All right. Well, there you go. See, that was awesome. That was such a good question that my computer timed out in the time we were answering it. Okay. Patrick Ferguson says, where in West Texas can I get number 4 soil? You pooch, Pat.
In Oregon. You just take a right. You head west. Take a right.
So
straight north.
There are stores all over, and you should also encourage your grow store to get it, because that's the easiest way. Because you can OCGFAM. I mean, you can't get it on the site, but you can call us up and we'll ship a bag or 10 bags or 100 bags, but it's not cheap.
No.
It's dirt.
You're shipping dirt.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, what you'd have to do is to kind of look at the, who our suppliers sell to in Texas. I would look up the Hyder Farm customer base, because they're strong in Texas. See who's in West Texas that's the store, but any one of them can special order it from any one of the distributors, or if you're going to do volume, we can always chat about freight allowances and where we can ship stuff from OCG.
Well, there is the store locator, and I bet there's nothing in Texas.
Well, but that's not even that.
Yeah, it's not true. Corpus Christi.
Botanico.
Indoor gardening. See, they might have it.
They might.
Probably not.
Who knows?
The soil is really somewhat new. I mean, it's only been a few years.
Well, our distributors don't sell.
Yeah.
They don't sell.
No one wants to sell soil, right? Because it's heavy.
Well, it's literally a loss leader for most companies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we make soil just to keep people employed. We're not getting rich on soil.
All right. So it's a tough deal.
It is. Anybody can special order it there. It just comes down to what they're going to charge you for.
Yeah.
The freight is not cheap to there. I know anywhere from like $400 to $700 a pallet if you're just getting one pallet. Yeah. So when
how much is it? I mean, a couple of bags. I mean, is it like $50 to ship a bag of soil there for one bag or something?
$30.
So it's not $1 million, but it's a lot.
Well, if you're a farm, it's $1 million because we're shipping you all these UPS boxes because it's 35 pounds shipping 1,000 miles in UPS.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of people that are growing 3 or 4 plants and they're using Nectar and they want the whole thing to make it a lot easier.
That's effective and that's more affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen other companies out there selling their soils for $37 delivered in a box, and it's like, I would dig a hole in my yard and then add perlite to that soil before I went and spent $37 for 10 gallons of dirt.
Let me ask you that. They used to have those soil sterilizer things that would just kill everything in the soil. Could you kill everything in some soil, just dirt out of your yard, and then put everything back in and make your own soil?
Yeah, just go and bake it.
Yeah. So
because that's all that was doing. It was a compost.
Yeah, yeah.
So, they would just overheat it. But, I mean, you could bake it and make sterile soil, but why?
Well, then you would because you would know that you didn't have any pathogens in there, and then you would go work from there if you were trying to. It would probably be easier to
kill so many proteins, so many connected. I mean, there's so much more to soil than just the life. It's what the life has done. And if you bake those, you destroy that tilth. Really, with potting soil, if you're in a region where you just can't get a good potting soil, you don't like the brands that are out there, you can buy all the components to make your own really good soil. And it's just basically, find a bag of perlite, find a bale of peat, find a brick of cocoa, and then amend it to your liking.
Is there some base beyond that, or is it just those things, the perlite, the cocoa, I mean,
if you wanted our soil, it's cocoa, perlite, pumice, and peat. So that's your mix, different ratios for each one, and then it's just how you prep them. We wash our cocoa, like literally we wash it, not somebody says it washed. So you've seen it.
It's a sprinkler. It's like, it's amazing.
It's washed under 50 parts per million. So we got it washed, we got it buffered. The peat moss is from Lithuania, so it's a less acidic but great organic acids that come off of that.
It's the top layer, more so than, I'm sure Ireland has just been dug out.
Not really.
No, really?
No, it's the low population. They use it only for heat. They don't use it for growing. Canada's raped it all, and it's almost gone up there. And then
so they don't export it from Ireland very much. It's not because that's where you think of for peat.
No, us Irish, we hate everybody.
Fuck
don't
you!
Care. You want our peat? You bloody bastard.
All right.
I'd call your store, see what they have, and if not, then pretty much any big farm store is going to have peat, cocoa, perlite, and then you can amend your own. You can even email me. I can work with you on
Oregon's Only. That's what I want to say. Oregon'sOnly.com. There's a form on there, a contact form. That's you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So go there or have them go there. Okay. 94 Organics says, "Oh man, the front butt. I'm glad I'm not the only 5-year-old." Do you remember your front butt thing?
Yes, but I can't remember.
We were talking about Triton's maybe or something. I said it smelled like butt, and you said it smelled like front butt. It's been a big hit in the comments.
Because you saw that meme that's been going around that says, "You haven't partied until you put your butt on backwards." Have you seen that one?
No.
All right, what else you got?
All right, Uncle Matt. Hey, Bob, did Newton hook you up with any giveaway for the YouTube fam? Yeah, he did. 3 shirts. So, what we're going to do... So we got stickers? I can send out stickers. Just get out. Drives Lisa nuts mailing stuff out.
Because they have to actually do it.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing with Lisa, is she will actually do it. I can give them to Stanley.
No.
And he will say he's going to mail them out.
It's going to get done.
Anyway,
eventually.
So, Uncle Matt, let me know the size. You want a shirt. You're the winner. 2 other people from the comments randomly picked from this video get a shirt. It's the old school. It's not the new ones. It's the back in the day ones. I still have shirts.
But it's on a nicer...
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
They feel good.
It feels
like a next level shirt. Oh, wait, it's a next level shirt.
This is some next level shirt. So, yeah, and I'll throw those stickers in. We'll put some stuff in there. So, yeah, Uncle Matt, you got a shirt. Okay.
Uncle Matt? Is that your uncle?
No, he's not my uncle.
Is this what he calls
This
himself?
is Uncle Matt. That's his name on the thing here. I don't judge.
Oh, Uncle Matt.
People I mean, that's a pretty normal name compared to some of them. Some people got some pretty because it's not, they just do it for their you put in a username, something that'll work, and and then there you go. Then that's you're that for. Okay. All right. Bruce Leaf says, "Welcome back, Bob." Shifu.
Where are you going?
The peppers look good. That's a great deal. Tell Carl we all said hey. I will tell Carl you said hey.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah.
Hey.
Bruce, a cool dude.
Who is that, Bruce Leaf?
Bruce Leaf.
Hey, Bruce Leaf.
I guess it's Lee, actually. The F is silent. We're just going to go through these. Damn, Bob. I just caught up on all your... This is Conan Cordray. Watch the show all
So
the
you'll
time.
never know that we're actually calling your name out because he's brutally destroying each one. This is from
Damn, Bob. Finally just caught up on all of your shows. I've been pretty busy the last couple of weeks with harvest. It's that time of year outdoors, and on top of that, time of the month indoors. Haha. Killer shows. You've been pushing them out like crazy. Great to be back. Awesome. Now...
Bob just likes to read these things
just
about
like to
how
read
great
it.
Bob is.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
Where's the one that says, Bob, I'm looking for where you live. I'm hunting you down so I can wear your face as an ass suit.
There was one guy who was really mean to me. He was like,
Why aren't we reading
who has
that
the
one?
most annoying... I don't know. It's way down there. He's like, you have the most annoying voice in the world.
No, there's way more annoying than that. That cash me outside chick would take her out bad.
But basically it was like, hey, I'm Bob. I got a ridiculous voice. I hope Scott thinks I'm cool. That's some mean shit. That's not nice at all. Anyway, Carolina guy, who is a nice guy, wrote a novel. He wrote a long comment about, and I sent it to you.
Oh.
And he had some questions in there though, didn't he? He's been growing some stuff, and he's killing it. And he's pushing hard. Like he's like, man, I've never fed this much, but they're taking it. And I'm trying to grow the absolute best that I can. But he had some stuff about pHing. He said, is there a point where I just pH the water? Do I keep doing the Herc harvest all the way through? Is that right?
Back real to what we just talked about for 20 minutes on pH in the water.
Yes, but do you at some point just water at the end?
Preference. I mean, I stopped advising there because it's either you love it or you don't love it, or you...
Now, let me ask you this about that, though. Is Rob from Full On thinks that the Full On actually will continue pushing metals out of the flower at the end. Do you think that's...
Yeah, if you put metals in.
There you go.
So you're not pumping a bunch of metals in with our stuff. So personally, I run Afro, Herc, on and off, play with full on fulvic acid and full power fulvic acid, and then the full on as my initial flush, and then I just water with Herc and Afro to the end. Maybe 1 or 2 days of just pure water. That's my style. There's guys who'll do 7 days of just water at the end. There's guys that will do 14. I don't like the taste of the 14. I think you really strip out. Because in that last week, when they're finishing, they're putting on that last bit of weight, they're producing the last bit of oil, they're pushing the terpenes harder. And if I find that we're diluting the terpene profiles by overwatering in the last 14 days. Now, last 7 days, I've never had a bad taste from that. And I personally don't mind.
You're talking about a weak taste, a diluted taste.
Why isn't
there.
it strong? Why isn't it like, when this whole building smelled like that for a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you don't get that from 14 days of
Complex
water.
and
Deep.
Yeah.
Many profiles. There's one.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Like, real flavorful food, but like some kind of like Indian food stuff where there's not just one, it's not just garlic or this or that. It's all kinds of stuff all coming at you at once. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say what's the best, but I personally say, take one crop, do it the way you would do it, and then try a handful on a new way every time. Make sure you're not missing, or get on the forums. But those forums are brutal. I mean, you tell them one way, you get attacked by 50% of the people because it's not their way. So
that's the thing I don't like about a lot of this is that it's like the people seem to think there is some way that and it seems like whatever their way is the way of the
This is
second.
a cookie cutter to make this shape. No matter what, you need this shape to make this shape.
Yeah.
But to finish a crop with 15 different potential bottles, there's a million ways to do this. Mm-hmm. You can use 2, you can use 4, you can use all 15. You don't have to use them all at once. You can use 5 now, 3 today, 4 tomorrow. I mean, figure out what works best for you, your palate, what your needs are, what your goal is, what you're trying to accomplish out of this garden. Do it that way.
So you've got like your basic crop that you do, and you've got 2 or 3 or 4 plants that you do, or whatever, 1 plant maybe, that you do just by intuition. You try something different that you think might be fun or different or whatever.
And when that tree hit me in the face, I do everything different every day. Because
every day's a new day.
It really is. I'm like, hey, look, I'm gardening. Jeez, when did that happen? Wow, look at those. They're big. So yeah, no, if you just get stuck in a recipe in a rut, you're going to miss something. You're never going to find the next new something. You're not going to see the potential of something. I mean, there always has to be a Frankenstein in the corner that you get to work with. Mm-hmm. You know, run what you do, but always learn. Or if you stop learning, then you stop growing. I mean, you're just producing. And we've got enough producers in this country producing C and D. You know, and very few people are producing A with passion.
Yeah. So, and A, and then like there's this A and this A. There's all kinds of different ways you can do it.
We have 6 customers that have different gamuts that are, but they're all phenomenal. And whether or not they're running just a pure super soil, they're running the 6 parts, they're using the pig farmer method. There's 1,000 ways to do this. And really, it comes down to the grower. If you don't have the passion and you literally just want to put alpaca shit in a hole and then water it with. It'll grow a plant. It'll be big and green. It'll produce fruit, but it's not going to be tasty. And if your level of like quality and your palate is here, then great. You're happy with a C grade mid. Mm-hmm. But if you like tasted, we've tasted things where you're like, damn.
Yeah. Well, that's like, there's you might not like coffee, but you taste some really good coffee, and you may not love coffee suddenly, but you appreciate like, oh. This is something good. This is not good here.
This is not good coffee.
This, however. Coffee. Hey, can we go out to your house and see how you make coffee?
No.
I let you in my home.
You needed a ride.
Well, yeah, but
you come to my house.
I've been to your house. I'm just kidding.
I'm invited. You just showed up.
I would just show up when I started working. I just like, hey, Scott, how you doing? I thought the look on your face like.
Yeah. Usually when you come down that driveway, there's usually gunfire.
Those were the good old days.
Luckily, I recognize your car.
That's all the questions for today.
So I don't feel like we've really nailed. What was his question? Carolina.
All right.
I really appreciate the feedback. A couple of says good. Blah, blah,
I'm going to put this up on the screen and then I'm just going to read it. What's up, Bob? Glad to see the show back. Today was day 1 of my 8th week in flower using Nectar and supplements. My genetics on this run are all Mosca Pink line, except for one Candyland, which is Ken Estes GDPX Bay Platinum Cookies, and one Uncle Fester's from 8th Avenue Genetics. Wow, he's got a lot of stuff going on. They are all loving the nectar and all of the supplements and the comprehensive regimen, but when I added 5 more bottles of nectar to take it to flower, to take the flower to another level. This is like kind of a bloom kit kind of situation he's got going, I guess. I started using the Roman regimen as a reference. So if you're doing a bunch of extra stuff, you can use the Roman as far as like about how much you use and the order you use them in, right? I guess that's what he's saying there. I really appreciated feedback from Scott a couple episodes ago, and I did reach a point where I was starting to get a little bit of teeth. And then I backed off a bit. For 6 plants, I never fed at a level like this. I went through almost 1.5 gallons of her harvest and drained a few more bottles as well. It's expensive, but I'm not complaining. I want the best possible harvest I can get. So far, I'm getting feedback from some other growers that tell me I'm killing it. One grower in particular had grown the Raspberry Boogie for years, and upon seeing mine, he can't believe how large and filled out they are. Makes me happy. If you read the description on Candyland, they say small, dense buds. Mine are large and getting larger and almost form colas.
Forearm,
and almost forearm colas. See, you're a better reader than me. I'm just like blasting through it. Where I'm at now, as all of these strains finish about 8 weeks, is that I'm wondering how to finish them off. I'm not going to feed anymore, but how long should I keep watering with Herc Harvest and SLF as a flush? Is there a point where I just use pH'd water? I don't want to screw the pooch this late in the game. Thanks, Bob, and keep up the good work.
Well, then, put your dog out in the backyard and keep your stuff in your pants. Pooch. He doesn't want to screw the pooch.
That was way out of left field. That was an elliptical orbit on that one.
Awesome.
So yeah, he's coming out of the end. He doesn't want to mess up.
You're not going to mess up. I mean, if you got forearm-sized stuff on things that should be gumballs, then you've already won. You're in the late stages of the game. Literally, it comes down to if you're pleased with the density, you're pleased with the way it looks, and the things are starting to change as far as color, and you got that, you have a target date, then I would say no more than like a week worth of watering.
Okay.
Or you can literally water this stuff up until the day before you harvest.
Now let me ask you this, because once you pull it down, you're not done. It's the curing that's the hard part of this thing. So let me ask you that, though. Is there anything you should be doing at this point with an eye toward how you're going to cure this out or any of that sort of situation?
I don't ever recommend on that.
No.
That's when you get the email, you told me to do it this way and it sucks. Well, I'm not at your house, so I don't talk about that. I don't talk about harvest. There's a million people that'll argue to death on that one. I would love to figure out the perfect one myself. I mean, I've tried it the best way, like from some of my best growers I know. I've done it their way. I don't get a good finished product like they do.
Do you, what do you think about those moisture meters for measuring the moisture content as you're curing it out? You seen these? No, never mind.
No. Snap, jar, burp twice a day for a couple weeks. Once they're there, then you start smelling the terpenes express, and once they do that, then it's once every week, and then after that, you just store them. That's how I do it, right or wrong.
All right.
But hang them till they snap.
See? That's a good rule of thumb there. And also,
well, except for now, if you're in Southern California and your humidity is 42%, and which takes me 10 days to get to a dry to snap, they take 2 days.
Well, let me ask you this then. If you're in a weird situation, would you try to work this out in your tent? Where you could control the environment of that?
Well, ideally anywhere, like closet, tent, extra bedroom, wherever you got to do it.
And you'd still keep up your humidity and all that. I mean, just...
50-50.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I've heard. 50 temp, 50 hue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, see?
It is.
Gone off the rails.
Again, though, it's just...
I don't want to... Yeah,
I don't want to teach you how to do that part.
Well, it's not how to do, it's how we do. That's all you're saying. That's what I do.
Yeah, but they don't hear it's not how you do. They say, well, this is how we all do it now. And it sucks, and we hate you, and we're going to burn your house down because you don't think our way.
Wow.
We don't think that way here. Million ways. There's probably only like 10 ways to cure, but a million ways to do everything else. The cure is very specific. It's region specific, humidity specific, genetic specific.
This is something where you get in with your buddies or find some buddies.
Well, that's what I usually recommend people. I find out what region they're in. I said, talk to about a handful of your friends who are doing it. And if you like the way that theirs tastes, then they're probably curing it correctly. I've seen amazing flowers destroyed during the cure. And I've seen some crap come out amazing because of the cure. So, to me, the hardest part of this whole game is post-growth.
Does it matter what you start off with? Are the two things connected in any way?
Oh, for sure. Genetics if you got a good breeder with a good genetic, then you're already tenfold ahead of most people. If I start a seed and I'm F1 hunting, I'm trying to find something that I want to carry over for years, good chance 9 out of 10 seeds are going to end up just not being high quality flavor. I mean, they'll have all the functionality, all the active ingredient, but they're not expressing to the genetics that the breeder intended. And when you get one and you're lucky, you better hope you've cloned that one because F1 hunting's a pain in the ass. I don't know how these breeders do this. I mean, I know how they do it, but man, painstaking. You have to, if you have a good breeder under your belt, you thank them because that takes a lot of thought, a lot of detail. I mean, anybody can take pollen and hit a flower. That's not breeding. That's pollen chucking. But there are some awesome breeders out there. We got a lot here in the Pacific Northwest. There's a few down in California. They're out there.
Yeah.
And when you see them carry over and their seeds are actually, I'm just going to throw a name out there, Thug Pug. Thug Pug Genetics are... I never met the guy. All I know is when you look up his Instagram and then you look at anybody who's running his gear, the consistency is
It's
through
there.
the roof. It's
Yeah.
like, man, that guy really, whatever he has done, he has nailed it down to whatever he gives out his seeds. They're getting very similar to his.
They're the
his
seed.
flower.
They're stable. They're
Yeah. And I take a lot of seeds from a lot of people that I just play with because I'm always trying to find the better medicine. And, no bash on anyone, but I will take 12 seeds and I'll get 12 different plants. Just like, well, that really was a pain in my ass. Because I don't know what I'm going to like. And now with no sense of smell, I do heroin.
blind.
I don't do heroin or meth. Just coffee.
Just coffee.
I can't taste that, so.
Tough deal.
It really is.
All right. That's the show. I love you. Scott's fond of you. He probably loves you. He just doesn't want to say it. That's the show for today. I'll see you on Monday.
Air hug.
For more information about anything on today's show, go to our website, OCGFAM416. And if you buy anything while you're there, use the code FAMHARVEST. It's going to save you 20%, and it's a lot of fun. The OCG Fam Show, it's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you on Monday.
Air high five.
You see the little thing where they just kind of tap you?
Well, no, that's kind of anymore. That's called molesting. It's like a back boob.
You gotta be careful.
I know. That's why I do air hugs and air high fives because there's no contact.
There's a thing with Mr. Bean. It's like a little gift, and he's the lady's like running up to like this. And he's like, "What's his hand on her forehead?"
Well, thank you. Don't want to get in trouble.
That was good.
Not bad. Because they were decent questions. They weren't self-disguised.